Haptic object recognition. Haptic object recognition is dependent on haptic perception. Haptic perception is knowledge of the world that is derived from sensory receptors in skin, muscles, tendons, and joints. It usually involves active exploration. The purpose of haptic perception is to understand our environment. We will specifically explore the process of acquiring sensory information from receptors in the skin and how that information is processed and later retrieved for object recognition. So how do we acquire knowledge from sensory receptors in the skin? When objects come in contact with the skin, sensory receptors in the dermis are stimulated. There are 4 major types of receptors. One type responds to heat, a second type responds to light touch, the third type responds to pain, and the fourth type responds to cold. After stimulation, neural signals are sent from the receptors to the brain in order for the brain to determine characteristics about the object. In addition, neural signals are sent to the brain when the hair follicles move. In addition to being able to determine information about the object, the brain is able to determine which portion of the body has come in contact with the object. This ability helps the brain formulate a detailed memory which facilitates object recognition in the future. One's perception of the object is shaped by the aforementioned interaction between the sensory receptors and the brain. Haptic object recognition is especially dependent on touch. There are 6 major methods of touch. The first is lateral motion. With lateral motion, a subject rubs their hand or fingertips across the surface of an object. The next method is pressure. With pressure, a subject taps or presses down on the surface of the object. The next method is static contact. With static contact, a subject holds their hand or fingertips in static contact with the object. The next method is unsupported holding. With this method, a subject holds an object in their hand and the object is unsupported by other surfaces. The next method is enclosure. With enclosure, a subject places their hand or hands around the outside of the object. The last method is contour following. With contour following, a subject uses their fingertips to trace the edges or contours of the object. The experiment. Thank you for agreeing to participate in this experiment. Please close your eyes. In this experiment, I will present 3 different bags to you, one at a time. Please do not open your eyes. After I present each bag, I will ask you to please fill in the bag and see if you can identify the object within. Are you ready? Bag number 1. Do you have a good sense of what the object is? Mm-hmm. What do you think it is?
An orange.
Thank you. Here's bag number 2. What do you think the object is?
Like Play-Doh in the container.
Thank you. And finally, here's bag number 3. Do you have a good idea of what the object is?
I think it's like a pine cone thing.
Thank you. You can open your eyes. You are correct. Object number 1 was an orange. Object number 2, or substance number 2, was Play-Doh. Homemade Play-Doh. And object number 3 was a pine cone. Thank you for agreeing to participate. As you may have noted, the participant used all of the touching methods in the haptic object recognition task. Thus, touching is a vital part of our everyday lives, especially when trying to identify objects. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video on the exciting world of haptic object recognition.